Today's guests in conversation with Marilyn Weston are proud sponsors of From a Woman's Perspective. To reach Marilyn and her guests, visit the program's website, marilyns.ca, or call 416-504-6777.
Now Leslie McCormick of the Farwell Group, author of Bank on Yourself, Why Every Woman Should Plan to Be Financially Single Even If She's Not, joins us. Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning, Marilyn.
What are we talking about today?
When it comes to finances, the choices we make have consequences. And if there is one thing I see people doing that oftentimes leads to long-term negative financial consequences, it's following a rule of thumb or doing something simply because of age or because it's what their friend, neighbor, brother did, rather than making an informed decision based on their own personal circumstances. I'd like to talk about one of those decisions that people tend to make not based on their own circumstances, but based on age or what they think they are supposed to do. That decision is when to convert their RRSP to a RRIF. We've all been taught to defer. And so people think they should defer converting their RRSP to a RRIF until 71. The last year you can convert to a RRIF and start income the year they turn 72. And for some people, that's the right decision. But for many others, it may not be. Some of the factors that we suggest people consider when making the decision to convert their RRSP to a RRIF early or to defer as long as possible include whether or not you're working. If you are working, depending on your income, it may very well make sense to continue to defer. If you're retired, we look at what are the sources of your income and how are they taxed. Basically, we look at how much your expenses are and what the sources of income are to see whether or not it's tax efficient to add RRIF income now or to defer. Many times we run the convert now or defer decision as scenarios in their retirement plan to compare outcomes and see what is best in their circumstances. Thirdly, your marital status. Can you benefit from pension income splitting? On this point, it's interesting. You've heard me say one of the biggest risks married or committed couples face is that two become one near to or early in retirement. What we often do is run retirement income plans based on both people living happy, healthy, active lives to at least 95. Then we run them based on a survivor scenario to make sure that if something had happened yesterday to one of you, the other would be okay. Many times in these scenarios, we incorporate the decision about when to convert to a RRIF. It is not uncommon that as a couple, healthy, active to 95, they are indifferent about converting to a RRIF when they retire or deferring to 71. But in a survivor scenario, a survivor would have been better off if they had converted early. If it doesn't harm you together, but it helps the survivor, that answers our timing decision. This isn't an uncommon finding, but it doesn't mean every couple should convert early either. Again, it depends on your personal circumstances. And finally, the profile of your savings and income sources for retirement. How much do you have in accounts like RRSP, TFSAs, and non-registered accounts? Do you have a pension, government benefits? Income from each of these sources has different tax consequences in retirement and can impact the decision to convert early or defer. Again, Marilyn, financial decisions have consequences. When you make decisions based on your own personal circumstances and use financial plan scenarios for your personal circumstances, you improve the probability of making sound decisions. And that can make all the difference as you look to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired.
Well, as we often say, you don't know what you don't know. So if you have options, you have to look at the consequences and make a decision based on fact. The best way to do that is to have a good financial advisor. And if you have questions, Leslie McCormick, Darren Farwell, the Farwell Group, are willing to stand in there and answer them. Your phone number, Leslie?
416-863-7501.
416-863-7501. Make decisions based on solid information from experts rather than following things that your friends say and taking things lightly. And in the end, you'll be smarter for it, you'll be less stressed, and you'll have more money in your pocket, I believe. Thank you, Leslie, for that solid information, and I look forward to speaking to you soon again.
Thanks, Marilyn.